All right, guys, moving into our fourth main topic today. Fourth bit of movie news, I guess, rather. Our fourth bit of movie news. If you have seen, if anyone out there is familiar with David Fincher, he is a brilliant filmmaker. He's a brilliant filmmaker. He doesn't have that many films behind him, I guess, but boy, oh boy, is he a brilliant filmmaker. Well, David Fincher has just signed an exclusive 4-year deal with Netflix, and this is really interesting because every project that he like writes and directs himself and puts out there, people have usually very strong positive opinions. Like the game with Michael Douglas is one of my favorite thrillers. It may be my favorite thriller. I'm not entirely sure. That is one, I've said this so many times. The Game. I wish I could erase that movie from my memory so I could go back and rewatch it again, knowing nothing about how the story plays out, not know the ending, because that is such a good movie. If you have not seen David Fincher's The Game, starring Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, drop what you're doing and go watch that movie. It is so good. But yeah, so David Fincher signing an exclusive 4-year deal with Netflix, I think is very interesting, because it is forcing him to, like, as this incredible, prolific director, as Carter, you just used the word prolific, so now I have that in my brain. He is a prolific director. And so getting him and forcing him to create content is either going to be really, really good or really, really bad. I don't think there's a lot of middle ground here. I think it's good to put maybe like a statute of limitations, or maybe not a statute of limitations, but like a time limit. When you put a time limit on someone, that means that they only have a finite amount of time to create whatever type of content that they're creating. And sometimes it turns out well, and sometimes it doesn't. Carter, are you familiar with David Fincher or some of his movies? Like, what do you think of him as a director? And like,
Yeah.
do you think that, putting a time crunch on him to create X amount of and that's the thing, like, they haven't said you need to make this many movies by this date. It's just content that he wants to create, but actually give him some kind of an incentive behind, like, no, you need to have it done we need to have like something in the next 4 years. What do you think?
Uh, yeah, I think deadlines are good. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you that much about like making sure that he has a release date or like a production date for certain things, especially when we don't even know what these projects are, or if they're projects that are just like, in his journal, things like that. I mean, because what Netflix signed a deal with Adam Sandler, and he just did movies whenever. And I personally feel like if they were giving him like deadline dates and release dates, there would have been some consistency to the movies that came out. But sometimes you just had two movies come out real quick and then another movie not come out
Yeah.
for a year. But in general, David Fincher, I love David Fincher. I don't find myself surprised in a lot of movies. I often think way too much like I'm on the production when watching a movie and will immediately predict the ending. But when it comes to David Fincher's films, I think one of the things that I found was he's not relying on my naivety or my lack of knowledge to surprise me. He's actually relying on people's interest and people trying to crack a code. And it always feels like when you find something out, like, at the end of Seven, or even, I mean, yeah, even
Yeah, and
Fight
I've
Club, and what was it?
great
Oh,
movies that
Gone
I've
Girl.
just never
Gone Girl. I
that I
love Gone
haven't brought
Girl.
up yet.
Um, yeah, when it comes to the surprises that you get, it's not because it always ends up being because I think that I'm as smart as I think I'm as smart as the character, but then when you find out that they are also smart, but they are just being duped or whatever it is, or duping themselves or confusing themselves, which I think that's the biggest thing that I love about it, because he's like, oh, you don't get this. He's trying to surprise it, because he was like, if you were in this situation, you'd be fucked too.
And just as a reminder, I try to keep this a family-friendly show.
Oh,
So thank you for that little
I'm
nugget
sorry.
of truth bomb there, Carter. But yeah, I mean it is true. Like
Just
David
dropped one.
Fincher is one of those directors that that we sorry, now all I can think of is your potty mouth. But yeah, like David Fincher's one of those directors that I'll let you compose yourself. David Fincher's one of those directors that he knows what he's doing when he has the right tools to put that out. And as you mentioned, Fight Club, Gone Girl. We didn't even bring up Alien 3. I know Alien 3 is one of those. It's a controversial film in the history of David Fincher, but I love that movie. I think that's a great movie. But there were things that he wasn't able to do that he wanted to do. He was being restricted by the studio a little bit. I don't know. I see this as a really interesting move to put a 4-year deadline on creating whatever kind of content it is that he's going to create. Carter, final thoughts.
I'm excited to see whatever it is. I think those are the only 3 movies that I've seen: Se7en, Gone Girl, and Fight Club. So for some reason, I just didn't connect.
Oh,
all
Social
of those
Network
movies.
is another one of his too. Sorry.
Oh, I have seen Social Network as well. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I've seen it. But
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
But yeah, no, I don't think I ever connected.
Sorry,
this
you're
movie.
talking and I'm just like interjecting. I'm like, oh, I remember. Let me cut you off. Let me be rude.
It's okay. I have a potty mouth. No, I'm just excited. That's just pretty much that. I'm excited, and really, I think the biggest hope that I have is that I stumble upon one of these movies or series, and it's not hugely advertised. I watch it, I love it, and then later on, I find out that it was David Fincher. Like every other thing that I've seen of his, that's how it's worked, and I think that that's the magic of it.
Ooh, I think you hit the nail on the head. That is the magic of it. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is not such a great idea for David Fincher's career? What do you think of him signing a 4-year exclusive deal with Netflix? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles would want you to do. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.